Echo of history is heard in every corner of our land, from the sites built by our ancestors now became ruins, to all these magnificent historic places enduring our centuries, allure people to have a closer look into the past. History makes us think, learn and create. Ancient objects preserving over centuries tell us everything they have witnessed since the period they appeared or were made. From darkness to light, from the very depth of human life to present, our program reveals some amazing historic events known and unknown through the ancient objects kept in the museums of Uzbekistan. Wonders of history. Museum. It's a place which stores everything, from ordinary everyday articles to priceless masterpieces that demonstrate spiritual and cultural heritage achieved by human through his path of civilization. It's a wondrous domain that leads us directly to some mysterious scenes of history and shows them to present generation.
In the very heart of Tashkent there is one museum where the ancient objects want to tell us something interesting. I would say a lot of facts about the history of this ancient and mysterious land. Among these objects, today we're going to speak about some which I hope you will find interesting.
The State Museum of History of Uzbekistan was founded late in the 19th century and is one of the largest scientific educational institutions in Central Asia.
The State Museum of History of Uzbekistan, opened 130 years ago, contains more than 265,000 archaeological, numismatic and ethnographic exhibits from the very Stone Age to present, found and brought from the different parts of our country.
There are more than 270,000 items, among which 60,000 pieces relating archaeology, 100,000 numismatic, 18,000 ethnographic and 10,000 different historical exhibits demonstrated in various sections of the museum.
The State Museum of History of Uzbekistan, the largest one in the Republic, was founded in 1876. It exhibits the history of Uzbekistan through various objects starting from the Stone Age to the period of independence. Not only local people but also many foreign tourists visit our museum and gain much valuable information watching the things, demonstrating a rich history of of our country.
va ma'lumotga ega bo'lishadi.
The objects of the museum are grouped and shown mainly on 2 floors of this huge building according to their historic sequence. Two halls on the first floor, sized 420 square meters, are for temporary exhibits, and the second floor contains objects in 7 sections starting from the Stone Age to the 19th century. These sections illustrating the formation and development of statehood in the territory of Uzbekistan, advancement of science and culture, and the period of Renaissance hold comparably more number of archaeological findings. Among them, there is one section which is always crowded with visitors. Wonders of history. The deputy director of the museum, Otabek Orifjonov, still felt surprised watching the exhibitions and is proud of presenting these ancient objects to visitors.
O'zbekiston tarixi davlat muzeyiga kirgan tashrifchilar avvalambor muzeyimizning
The visitors of our museum firstly start their small tour round from the exposition of the Stone Age. This section holds some valuable objects like early human remains found from prehistoric archaeological sites in Tashkent region, Surxondaryo, Fergana Valley, Qashqadaryo and Navoiy.
Farg'ona vodiysi, Qashqadaryo hamda Navoiy viloyatlaridan topilgan manzilgohlardan topilgan
Once you come here, all seems very amazing, and looking at them, you can feel the exhibits want to tell us valuable facts about our ancient land. Today, we are going to speak about the exhibit, the history of which goes back to the Stone Age, the earliest form of human life in the territory of Uzbekistan.
The Stone Age was a rising period and formation of the earliest human society in Central Asia too. According to the chronology generally accepted by scientists internationally, the Stone Age is divided into 3 main periods. The Paleolithic, which means Old Stone Age, that falls in 1,500,000 before the present era and 12,000 years BC. The Mesolithic, Middle Stone Age, that went on from the period of 12,000 and 6,000 years BC, and the Neolithic, which means New Stone Age, marked from 5,000 to 4,000 years BC. These, in turn, had some subdivisions taking into account the development of material culture. The territory of our country has always involved historians, scientists, and archaeologists. Many ancient cultures have been discovered here. What peculiarity does this land have? Professor of the National University of Uzbekistan, Rustam Sulaymonov, has the following comments.
O'zbekiston Respublikamiz hududlari tarixiy geografiy ma'noda shunday bir hududlarki,
from the historic and geographical viewpoint, Uzbekistan is situated in the region among the countries in the west, the Caucasus, in the east, Mongolia, and in the south, India. The reason is that the land is rich in natural and sufficient water resources as well as variety of fauna and flora. Therefore, this region was very favorable for the origin of prehistoric culture and civilization.
Asosiy davlatchilik boshlangandan buyon madaniyat, sivilizatsiya markazlarini gullaganini ko'ramiz biz.
In 1985, some most antique stone tools were discovered in the O'zR cave situated in Fergana Valley by an archaeologist, Ismailov. The photographs of this site are displayed together with ancient tools unearthed at a site called Kulbulak in Tashkent region. According to scientific researchers, in the mid-Paleolithic period, early humanoids, Pithecanthropus and Sinanthropus had given place to Neanderthals. During that time, man learned not only to use fire, but also to make it by friction. Stone tools were improved and they started to make scrapers, cutting tools, awls and spears. Some other sites from this time have been discovered in various parts of Uzbekistan. The choppers, bifaced stone tools and other objects found in Khojakent, located 75 kilometers northeast of Tashkent in the Chirchik River Valley, are displayed here as well. Wonders of history. Some of the most remarkable relics of this period in the territory of Uzbekistan were discovered in 1938 from the Tajik cave located in Surxondaryo.
Okladnikov Alexey Pavlovich degan bir mashhur arxeolog o'tgan. Aspirantlik davrida
The site was found and explored by Alexey Okladnikov at the upper bank of Vashay River, 1.5 kilometer at sea level. Some favorable features of this cave formed in the mountain rocks are its comfortable location on the river bank, sufficient sunlight, and dry shelter inside. 5 archaeological layers were detected during the excavations.
Makon, manzil sifatida foydalangan ibtidoiy odamlar.
And on one of those layers, the archaeologists find an exceptionally important material, some remains of Mysterian man.
Yuqoridagi birinchi qatlam tozalanayotganda g'orda markazidan go'sht.
When digging the upper first layer, the group encountered a half-meter deep grave. About a 9-year-old juvenile with bent arms and legs have been buried in it. The interesting point is that he was not just buried, but there were some signs of rituals and superstitions performed. The horns of mountain deer were put together across the corpse. The cave had been deserted afterwards, and no sign of life was detected on this layer.
Tashlab ketilgan bu joy.
After some thorough analysis and studies of the discovered bones, the scientists came to conclusion that the finding was a Mysterian boy of about 9, dating back 100,000 and 40,000 years. Now, the museum displays a bust of this Neanderthal boy made based on his skull bones. Besides, the section exhibits sharpened implements, knife-shaped blades, and other tools made from jasper, quartzite and other types of stones together with photographs of the cave and a painting named Burial of the Tajik Boy. We don't know whether this image fully or partly matches and describes the exact shape of an early human. However, we do know its remains were discovered in this land. Wonders of history. The next discovery in Uzbekistan from the Stone Age period was an Abrahmat Cave located 100 kilometers northeast of Tashkent, which has been the focus of archaeological investigations since 1960s. The excavations at this site have revealed 22 layers associated with the Stone Age, and early human skull bone fragments and teeth were found together with stone tools.
Maydalangan, chochilgan holda o'sha 16-qatlamdan yana bir taxminan 10-12 yasharlik bolaning suyaklari chiqdi.
The skull bone fragments of about 12-year-old juvenile were unearthed on the layer 16, which was broken into many pieces. Rather than Tajik remains, he was not buried but just left. The human bones were mixed with animals, and a part of the skull displayed here at the museum was recovered, putting 50 pieces together. Besides, 6 teeth and ear bone were found from this archaeological layer. This discovery also made headlines, and a year later, in 2004, a huge international scientific conference dedicated to this object was held at the Science Academy of Uzbekistan. Of course, it stirred up various disputes and discussions between famous scientists, anthropologists and archaeologists. Eventually, the skull bones and teeth of Abrahmat man were similar to present human, and the form of ear bone was of Neanderthal.
Chanag'ini tuzilishi Neandertal tipidagi odamga xos bo'lib chiqdi.
Judging by experts' conclusions, the remains have enormous significance to study the history of man. Apart from that, the tools from Abrahmat were practically analogues to those of anthropological finds made in various regions of Eurasia, which are considered to be about 40,000 and 50,000 years old. The transition from the mid to late Paleolithic was marked by developments in societal relationships and in human physical appearance. An important achievement of this period was the invention of pointed spears and darts, by means of which ancient people hunted large animals. Stone working became finer, and some special tools were produced for cutting, sewing, drilling and scraping. The Stone Age section displays tools discovered in the Abrahmat Cave in Surkhandarya.
One may pose a question: how was the finding accepted by foreign specialists and scientists? An 11-page article with full details and analysis was published in the Journal of Human Evolution in 2008 by Sarah Bailey, a professor of New York University, Center for the Study of Human Origins, Department of Anthropology, Max Planck Institute for the Evolutionary Anthropology, Department of Human Evolution, Leipzig, Germany, and several other scientists. In the introduction, it says, Abrahmat Grotto, a Middle Paleolithic site located in the northeastern Uzbekistan, has yielded some of the first human remains from the Central Asia since the discovery of the Tajik child in 1938. The remains represent a single juvenile, roughly 9-12 years of the age, and consist of a highly fragmentary cranium and a part of a permanent dentition. The article made a thorough analysis of the early human remain compared with similar findings from the other parts of the world and came to the following conclusion. The results of this study strongly support identifying the newly discovered Abrahmat human as a Neanderthal on the basis of its dentition.
Art has always been an inseparable part of human life. Even the Stone Age man was creative, and the nature surrounding him must have been an inspiration to depict their imaginations on some stone fragments and the walls of their cold, stony shelters. Similar early rock art was discovered in Zarautsai, located in Surkhandarya, where some pictures describe hunting scene, animals, hunters armed with bows and spears. These carved images have been studied by many well-known scientists and published in a number of popular scientific magazines. Looking at this simple rock art from the Stone Age displayed in the museum, you can feel a bit of care, human intellect and imagination that turned a piece of cold rock into a unique, precious and eternal artwork.
Today, we have just wanted you to have a closer look at the objects belonging to the Stone Age, which are really wondrous without any exaggeration and which is a scientific fact. There is a saying, it's better to see once than hear about many times. So, if you visit the State Museum of History of Uzbekistan and see the objects we have spoken about, you yourself will witness it. We say goodbye, but it's the beginning that the museum starts to reveal its secrets.